So
Anyway,
we're going to be talking about the Sanremo.
Sanremo.
Okay, we're going to talk about that one as well. The Sanremo Cube. Uh, we've got a title. Did they blow it? And
Yeah,
they did. They
and they blew
I
it.
think they did blow it, Max.
I think they blew it. I realized that they blew it when you told me the price, period. And
Yeah.
that's a wrap for me.
Well, I was going to get to that at the end. Once again, I should just not have mentioned that to you, but once again, you've kind of taken the whole the crescendo,
But we're
the
not going
nadir
to say
of
the
the
price until the end.
no.
So
People can already guess that it's not
yeah,
low. But here's
or
what I
maybe
think.
it's
So,
very low. Maybe I want to pay a lot of money for my coffee machine. Well,
well,
who knows?
yeah, maybe you do. Look, if you want to get the best, then that's
Yeah,
absolutely fine. And let's just give credit to Sanremo on a couple of things first of all, and talk about who they are, because some people listening might not even know who Sanremo is in terms of
and they
coffee
should,
machines.
because
Well, you should know who they are because, or you should find out who they are because they make some amazing machines. They're
yeah,
used in the world championships, but they're commercial machines,
yes. If
right?
they made, I mean, they're the ones that make the Cafe Racer, which
I
is an amazing
love
looking
that
coffee
machine.
machine. That is brilliant. It looks amazing.
Yeah,
It's got
but it is amazing. It's an amazing machine.
yeah,
A lot of coffee shops
and
use
the
it.
looks. It's got the features and the looks.
Yeah,
So
they
you have
basically
a
blended it really well
yeah,
together.
yeah.
They really got their act together. I wonder how many revisions it took them to get to that point.
I don't know, but it's brilliant. I mean, it's got saturated group heads that you can individually
Mhm.
control, and you have different temperatures,
Yeah,
and so for each one, you can actually
yeah.
set them up. And the best thing ever is the way it looks, because it looks
It's
like an old Ducati Monster with
it's a very good, actually good point. It's a motorbike, by the way. So that, yeah, it's a very good
it's
point. I hadn't thought about it in that way. It has got a classic and very unique look. And
yeah.
I think that's what Sanremo
Mhm.
tried to do when they brought this cube out. Now, I have to say, I'm a sucker for cubes. I've been a sucker for cube ever since, and for the nerdy computer people and old like me will know the next cube. So Steve Jobs, after he left Apple,
Mhm.
not the Steve Jobs that you most people know, he came back and he was running Apple, but when he founded Apple, he was then kicked out of Apple by Scully. Was it John Scully? John Scully, I think it was. He was kicked out by from Apple, and he went, "Screw you guys! I'm going to set up my own machine, and I'll show you how to do it right." And he set up the Next Cube, which was the most desirable computer you could get at the time, but of course, totally impractical. But it was a beautiful thing, and everybody lusted after one.
Mhm.
Um, and then he was brought back to Apple when Apple went, was about to go bust. And obviously, as everyone knows, the rest of the story. But we had that cube. Then he made another cube whilst he was at Apple, that second round version. He basically made an amazing, it was unfortunately had a lot of reliability problems, but he made, to me, what is still probably the most desirable Apple ever made, which was
Mhm.
the Apple Mac Cube, and it was an amazing machine.
I can actually see, I can actually sense a bit of a trend here.
Yeah,
Stuff that looks really good,
yeah, but
but then
doesn't
it
quite
doesn't have the
work.
right functionality. It's very impractical.
Yeah,
Did
yeah.
they do the same with the
Yeah,
Sanremo
they
Cube?
kind of did the same thing with this. I mean, we're going to explain why we say this. So we've got our. I mean, Max and I actually haven't really talked about this, so we've probably got different opinions as to why we just had a bit of a pre-show chat as I'm writing up the headlines. Like, hey, what did you think? I think they blew it, and Max is like, yeah, they blew it. So we both agree, but maybe for different
Yeah.
reasons.
Well, first of all, from my point of view, I was expecting more from Sanremo because, I mean, come on, Cafe Racer. I thought,
Yeah, high expectations.
do you want to blow people? I mean, all of the other ones out of the water. Do a single head Cafe Racer.
Yeah, that's all they
Do
needed to
that.
do. That's
Do
all they
that
needed to do. That's all
at
they needed to
any
do.
price.
With a
People will.
saturated group head and yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
the
But
only one that might actually have, maybe there are two that could probably come close to it in terms of looks, which are
Mhm.
the GS3, maybe,
Mhm.
and the Slayer,
Mhm.
because they both look amazing. But the Cafe
They
Racer
do.
would look amazing. I mean, it's a brilliant thing.
Yeah,
I want one,
yeah, yeah. We
and
all want one in our
instead,
kitchen, but we're you
yeah,
know we're not able to, we're not allowed to have them.
Well, yeah. Also, there's the little thing of not needing a radiator in the kitchen if you have that, and it's
Yeah.
electric. So
Yeah,
yeah,
it's a big machine. Listen, before we go on and really dive into the weeds of it as to what we both think
yeah,
about the Sanremo Cube,
yes,
and there are some things that I like about it. Okay, but before we go into that, a couple of modalities, a couple of points. So the first is, and by the way, I should say because I'll forget otherwise,
okay.
that if you're interested in espresso machines and designs, go over to our interview channel and watch the interview with, because this will be specifically, I think, relevant in context to the discussion today. Watch the interview that I did with the chief, the guy who does the product design at La Marzocco, Stefano Della
Stefano.
Pietra. A lovely guy, and we talk about his job at La Marzocco and how he designs stuff. And it's there. It's just on the interview channel. So if you go to, I think it gets look up Bar Talks interviews, you'll find it there. But in that interview, he talks about the challenge of wanting to design things, coming up with really great design ideas, but having to make that work with the engineers. And I think,
And that's always difficult because engineers likes things more than people.
yeah, yeah, and there'll be things like, for example, I mean, I'll give you an example, right? So for that I remember from the conversation was he would say, I don't want to see screws on the front of my beautiful machine. I want it to be clean lines. But the engineers will say, but the engine, we've got to be able to take that front panel off to get access. So you stupid little things like that, right? But these are
Mm-hmm.
all the considerations, the little considerations that come from having decades of experience of doing stuff. And maybe I'm just wondering, maybe if something has gone wrong with Sanremo that some of these decisions didn't come about. But if
Yeah.
you're interested in that kind of thing, go watch that video.
And if you have ever taken apart one of the big machines, you probably know that you might have cursed against the designer once or twice at
Yeah,
least. I
yeah,
know you did.
yeah,
I
yeah,
know you
definitely.
did because I
Yeah.
did a lot.
Yeah, yeah. When you drop that screw down the back of anyway,
Yeah.
and then it goes all the way to the back.
And then you wonder, do I really need that screw?
What if I left that there? Would that cause a problem? Um, so the other bits of news, just we did two interviews. Actually, yesterday I did them yesterday. It was a big interview yesterday.
Ooh.
One on the coffee side, one on the chocolate cocoa side. The coffee side was, and they were both amazing people. The coffee side, we did an interview with the chief executive of Illy Coffee, who I actually managed to pronounce his name. I practiced. I was like one of those
You
opera singers
practice,
going around, Massimiliano Pogliani, Massimiliano Pogliani. So I practiced and practiced and practiced, and I thought, man, I'm going to blow it.
but you know that it's Pogliani, right?
Yeah, yeah. He told me that. He said, well, because I was very proud I got the Massimiliano correct. And he said, well, of course, the difficult one is the one that you just said. And so yeah, I didn't even pretend to get that right. But
Yeah.
so we talked to Massimiliano about B Corp certification, about sort of ethics and supply chain and sustainability in the environment, and what that business is doing. He was actually the first CEO to be appointed to the board because Illy's run by. If you take a look at the chairman, and it's a family business.
Mm-hmm.
It's still the Illy family that owns the majority of shares. And he was the first CEO back in 2016 who they brought in externally. He's got an interesting background. So I was really delighted to chat with him. I talked to him for over an hour. And I can just say, Zoom screwed me. Yeah, Zoom. It's still processing the video. I thought I'll record to the cloud just to make sure it's not on my computer, anything happens, I've got it. A day later, Zoom is still processing. So like normally it finishes the video like within a minute or two. This time, like after 30 minutes, I'm getting a bit worried. So I go on and they've got like an automated bot. Everything's a bot now. You
Yeah.
might even be a bot. I don't even know if you're real.
I am. I am
Yeah,
just a grumpy bot.
grumpy bot. That's you're in grumpy mode, and
Would you
and you
like
go
to
into that.
increase your level, the level of grumpiness?
It's just so frustrating because you type into these things, you know, it's not a human. It goes, hey, hey, you know, how can I help you today? And you just type anything in, and you just type, you know, I hate you. I wish you would all die. And it goes, oh, I'm really sorry you're feeling that way.
Sanremo Cube.
Okay, all right. So anyway, so that news. So we did that. We did another interview with Sarah Marquardt, who is making. She runs a German lady with her brother has set up a company to make chocolate without any cocoa, and they're actually doing material science. And if you remember, and the reason there's a bit of a link here, again, if you go to our interview channel, go look up Atomo Coffee.
Atomo.
Atomo Coffee. Yeah. So Atomo Coffee, I interviewed the founders of that probably about 18 months ago,
Mhm.
Jared and Andy, and they're making coffee without coffee beans, right? And again, they're using material science. Sarah used to be their chief scientist, and she's now doing her own thing.
She
It's
decided
really
to
interesting.
she decided to go not for coffee but for chocolate. Let's do pretend chocolate.
You pretend. Well, there's various issues. I mean, you can be as cynical as you like, and I was a little bit, but I have to say, having
Oh, I
spoken
am.
to her, well, I had to go listen. What the video will be up next week. Go watch it because I have to say, there's a lot of people in my industry who don't like this idea, and they don't like it, and they don't like the concept. They don't like anything about it. So it's actually a bit of a controversial one for us to do. But I have to say, having spoken to her, that she's a very real, genuine person with very real motives, and so I have a lot of respect for her. I came away from that interview quite impressed. So there's a couple of things. Note that we are also still giving away this month this peak water filter, which you can win. It is new. You can win by going over to bartalks.net/giveaway. There's no purchase necessary. There's no hidden catch. If you register there, you basically get entered for giveaways each month that we do, which we just do because we're nice people, aren't we, Max?
You are.
Okay. Yeah, it is. You're right. I didn't want to say it. I was just being, magnanimous. So that's that. Okay, Max, the
So
cube.
the cube. Number one, first issue I have with. I was expecting more. I was expecting design. I was expecting something nice because they they show that they can actually do nice things. Instead, I noticed that it's a box where there is an E61 group head stuck on. So that is definitely someone that got a job lot of these bloody E61 group heads, and they're putting them every bloody where.
Well, okay, you've got an E61 kind of
I
problem,
have a
hang
problem
up.
with that thing. Yes, I don't want to see an E61 group head anymore. Wrap it into something, please. Just
Yeah.
make it disappear.
Can I just say,
One.
I'm going to back you up, but I'm just on this point, I'm going to back you up, but I'm just going to temper it a little bit. I'm going to say, I don't have a problem with the E61 group head. My problem comes in that machines that are charging as much as they're charging are not innovating with anything different. That's the problem I've got. There's nothing wrong with the E61 group head. It's just, oh God, can't you just, you know,
Yes,
do a
but
saturated group head, which we know.
E61, 1961.
Hmm.
It's 2021.
Yeah, still
Come
works.
on.
But you know what they said? They said they built it that way because the heat exchanger, it was made for the heat
Yeah,
exchanger. And
it is a heat
yeah,
exchanger machine.
I
That's
think that's a bit of
absolutely fine. You have a boiler, which is stainless steel, by the way. So that doesn't sit well with me
why. Very quickly.
because steel is rubbish at conducting heat. So you have a half full um, boiler that will be at 130 degrees at the bottom and at a lower temperature at the top. That makes your steam wet, and it tends to be a little difficult to.
It's not a big boiler though,
It's not a big boiler, but doesn't
which mitigates to some degree
it
that problem.
mitigates the problem. But I mean, you're charging that much, which we're gonna say how much they're charging, and I'm expecting at least copper. It wouldn't blow the budget out of the water
Hmm. Okay.
to swap to it. And
So
it's actually probably even easier to treat. I don't know, but I don't know. Maybe
yeah.
not.
Yeah. So you've got very practical issues with it. I've got maybe different kind of issues, I think.
Yeah. And the fact that yes, it's not innovative. There's nothing new. It's the same. It has the same features as every other heat exchanger machine that comes in a box as a box. This one is painted in a funny color, and it's got nice gauges, which is
Uh,
good.
I'm I'm
And
going to
if
go and
you,
just share a screen with a
yeah,
picture of it for those people who don't know.
yeah, you have
Yeah.
nice gauges, which are you know good. You have sort of nice-ish twiddly knob for the steam and the water, which they look
Yeah.
really good. See, you see, they
So
make
that's the
that
racer.
stuff.
That's the
No,
racer.
that's the opera. That's the opera.
Is that the opera? There it is. There it is. Yeah, the cube. Look, they got pink, Max. So that's something.
Yeah, I mean it's a box with an E61 group head stuck on it,
Hmm.
and it's got nice colors. I mean, you can literally wrap your coffee machine if you want to, and you have exactly the same effect here.
Yeah.
Literally.
All right. Is it my turn yet?
Yeah, I think I've
Okay.
ranted enough.
Okay. I love the box. I love the shape. I love the size. Right. So I'm gonna tell you the things I like about it.
Mm,
I love the shape. I love the size. I love the colors. I love the fact that it's a cube because I've got a bit of a cube infatuation. And I think it'll fit really well. You can get these different colors. There's not black showing here for some reason. I think they do have a black. I'm not sure I'd go with a bright color because it would look fantastic for a bit, and then I'd be like, what have I done? I mean, I could see maybe in some homes the green, the blue might look good. The red always, for some people always like the red, but I don't see it. The yellow's a bit too. I love yellow as a color. Anyway, so I love the box. I love the fact you get different colors. I'm not really sure. I like those colors, but I'm not really sure I'd have them in my kitchen. But
mhm,
here's what I really don't like about it. I don't like the fact that it has a tiny water tank. It comes in two versions. There's a rotary pump version and a vibration pump version. Now,
mhm,
it seems obvious that they're trying to steer everybody to get the rotary pump version because you plumb it in and then the water tank becomes a moot point. But if you
mhm.
don't know that and you buy the vibration pump version to save a bit of money, think you're getting, well, what do I need? I don't need to
Mhm.
plumb it in. You've
But the
got this
tank is for
tank.
both. The
I'm
tank
sorry.
is in both.
Yeah, it's in both, right? But if you plumb it in, you don't need to keep filling up the tank. But
Uh-huh.
if you've got a vibration pump, you're not going to plumb it in. You will need to keep filling up the tank, and you'll need to
Mhm.
fill it up after every 2 cups of coffee. It is ridiculous.
And it's
Um,
not 2 cups of coffee. It's 1.8 liters. It's a
well, it
capable.
depends on whether you screw up your coffee or not. Look, you first of all you purge your group head or whatever. You
Yeah,
purge in the morning. You do your cooling flush.
yeah.
Then you make a cup of coffee and you think, oh God, I forgot to purge the grinder. So you make another cup. And you didn't fill it up from last night when your son made a cup of coffee. I'm not saying anything, but when your son made a cup of coffee, and you run out. And by the way, there's no warning sign; it just stops halfway through. So you throw the coffee away, you curse, and now you got a conference call, and you don't get your coffee, and you're grumpy. That's what's going to happen. That's the
Yes.
reality. Very
Uh,
silly.
but I will stop you before going further.
Uh-huh.
Actually, think about it. It
I
has the
have.
same tank in both versions.
Yeah.
The same tank,
Yeah.
and
Makes no sense.
you have a very large rotary pump in one case, and a much smaller vibration pump in another version.
I want to know what a vibration punk is, but we'll come back to that. Keep
it's,
going.
yeah, it's a very excited punk rocker. Um, it's got too much coffee. Um, these two pumps, there's a massive difference between the two. I mean, a rotary pump, you're looking at, even if it's a compact one, you're probably looking at the size of, uh, I don't know, I don't have anything that to give you a size, but it's a large pump. Um, think of, I don't know, I'm lost. I've lost the idea. But
Think of a
think of
small dog. How big is the dog? What kind of dog? What breed?
Exactly.
Okay.
Think of an immersion mixer, the motor of the immersion mixer, that size, you know?
Okay. All right. It's about yay big, you're trying to say.
It's about like a candle, like
Okay.
that, something like
Okay.
that. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
large candle. Um, so it's quite chunky. Even the space saving ones, there are some smaller ones, but normally you would get, you need the motor for the pump, and then you need the pump attachment. So you're still looking at a big size. The vibration pump, on the other hand, is tiny. You can fit it in any nook or cranny in the coffee machine. So it doesn't need to be in a special position. It doesn't need to be um, sitting right, or, vertical, horizontal. You can put it anywhere. So why don't they have two different tanks?
Well, because obviously, Max, they don't want that manufacturing costs. They're not going to have two different
Exactly.
designs
So
and
again,
manufacture two versions like that.
again,
So
they spent all the money. They blew all the money to design the twiddly knobs. I
yeah,
think
the knobs aren't even twiddly. I'm going to come on to those actually because let's talk about those knobs.
the spinny knobs. They're not
They
twiddly.
they're well, they're definitely not twiddly. I'm not sure how spinny they are.
They spin one end. One
No,
end
I
is
know
for
they go the other way.
purging, and the other
Look,
end is
do you know that there was a movement a little while back where there was a movement that on good design. How many times have you walked up to a door that's got a handle on it and you
yeah.
try to pull and you find you're supposed to push it? And you think, why do they put a handle when you push? And there was a whole movement that I was really behind to say doors where you push should have a plate and where you pull, they have a handle. And so it becomes very clear what that function is.
Mm-hmm.
Sanremo did not read that book. So
They
what they
clearly
have
didn't.
got, what they have got, when you went to school, when you were a little boy and you had
Yeah.
hair, okay, when it was winter
Many
time,
moons ago.
when you and you had little shorts and your little legs were coming out and
Mm-hmm.
knobbly knees, and it was winter time. Did your mother ever give you one of those duffel coats?
My mother gave me long trousers at the time.
Well, okay, it would be actually it's winter time. So you had long trousers. I was trying to paint a sort of a picture. But did you ever have a duffel coat with those little toggles? They're called togs, I think.
Yes.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
this reminds me a little bit like a tog.
Yes.
It's a little it's like a cylindrical vertical tube. Now
Yeah.
it leads symmetrically onto the steam wand. And
Yeah.
I can see somebody's drawn this and they've gone,
And
this is
I'll tell you even more.
beautiful,
Yeah.
beautiful.
I'll tell you more. I would
Tell me
spend
more.
once I had if I had these in my kitchen, I would spend hours aligning the damn thing
Oh, it would always
because
be
it would
just
drive me
slightly out like a
nuts.
picture.
It would drive me nuts.
If that thing doesn't align, I would
Yeah.
send it back. I would be like, look, the only reason I bought this was to have this aligned. If
Yeah.
you're OCD, you're one of those people that
It would
lines up his
drive me
knives and
crazy.
forks.
You use the thing. I've actually seen a video where they're using it, and they steam the milk. They they um they do all the right things. They steam the milk. They clean the wand. They don't purge it, which annoys me. I'm already annoyed there.
Oh
And
yeah,
then
should be quite right.
and then they don't push it back to align it. They leave it
Yeah,
aligned.
no,
I was
fools.
I was screaming at it.
No,
I was mad.
yeah, of course, it should be. It's an outrage.
Yeah.
Well,
So
anyway,
anyway,
so thank you for that that cathartic release, Max.
sorry.
Anytime
I'm
you need
not really
therapy,
sorry. Actually, no, I
we're
was
here every
genuinely
Saturday.
mad.
Yeah. So they've got this tog kind of
Yeah.
tubular button, which is also the same kind of ones that you see on cheap new homes and on toilets. And but they put it in a vertical format that goes down to the steam wand. And so what you do is you grab the round thing, and what I want to do is pull it out because I think the thing's going to talk to me. I think there's a cable behind it, and if you pull it out, it's going to go, "Hi, Nick, what kind of coffee do you want today?" You know, like on a string, like those old dolls. But you don't. You turn it to the right to purge, and to
Yes.
the left to turn the steam on. So
Yes.
basically, it's a two-way button. It's the same idea as like the rocker switch that the Victoria Arduino Eagle One uses, and I like that rocker switch.
I
It
like.
makes sense. You push it, it
Yes, I
just
like
makes
pushing.
sense.
I really like the one that the Oscar, the Nova Simonelli Oscar 2 has,
Yeah,
the pushy flap, which is brilliant.
yeah,
And nowadays there's lots of solenoid valves instead used for steam, which I'm not a big fan of. I like to pretend that I have control over it somehow. I don't like the fact that you put it's either open or closed,
yeah.
but
Well,
that's
anyway,
me.
so you've got the tog,
Yeah,
right? Because we got a lot of actually now I realize I've got a lot of negative things about this thing I want to get through. So you got the
yeah,
tog. Underneath of it, you've got on the left, you've got the steam wand, which
yeah,
sticks out. Now the steam wand is on an articulated joint,
yes.
but if they made it articulated enough to be flexible, it would really kind of ruin the design.
Yeah.
So they've made it
So it isn't.
articulated a bit,
Yeah, it isn't very
not
articulated.
enough. If you
You have
watch,
to you have to twist it. You have to twist it to
you
use it.
cannot get big steam jugs underneath of it. Did you know that?
You can, but you have to
But you have
twist
to
it
get it to the
like that.
side.
You have to twist
What?
it like and
No,
go
you
on the
have to.
side.
Yeah, you have
Yeah.
to stick the one to the side. You cannot get the jug underneath. It is absolutely ridiculous. On the right side, the same thing about the water dispenser. One thing
Yeah.
I will say is that watching the water come out of the water dispenser when you turn the little stupid tog um, is that it's they've done something good here. I don't know what it is, but it doesn't like on my machine and on every other machine I've seen. It doesn't explode at you like
That's
it's.
because it's cold.
Is that right? There's
Yeah.
not enough pressure,
No, that's because it's cold. If you heat up the machine properly and you leave it on and everything equilibrates, it will
right?
start spitting and spraying as it does.
Ah, okay, all right. Anyway, so but that also gets in the way.
Yeah.
You just can't get things underneath of it from a practical point of view
And you
because
shouldn't. And you shouldn't because you shouldn't use that water to drink.
well,
That's
the
not
people.
drinking water, it's rinsing water.
Yeah, okay. Well, you can't rinse a mug under it. Well, you can, but you have to get it at an angle. You
You
cannot
rinse
put
a
a
mug
mug.
and you rinse the group, the portafilter.
Well, you'd be rinsing your mug. You'd be rinsing your mug and at an angle, and that there is a danger it's going to splash. You should be allowed to put a mug underneath the damn thing, even if you're not using it for that function. You shouldn't
But you
say
can twist it
hold
on the
your mug.
side.
You twist it out and you hold your mug at a 45-degree angle. What is that about? Please. No one thought about that. And then we come to the lever that sticks out from the rather nice looking E61 group head, I have to
I
say.
hate it. I
I
hate the
like it.
E61 group head. It's
Yeah,
been
but
80
it's not.
years.
No, I know, but look at this. It's got some angles to it. They've designed it. They've milled it
No,
quite
60
nicely.
years. It's been 60 years.
Okay, but they
I'm
put
bad
they
at
put
math.
they put rounded corners on it, so it's a bit like Windows. Windows.
They
It's gone
didn't
from
put
Windows
rounded
8 to Windows
corners
10.
around it. It's the same E61 that you find everywhere.
It's I don't know. It looks quite nice.
They look the same. They just changed the handle thing.
Anyway, it's got an angled handle as well, which I quite like. Look, I'm coming up with some positives here. But the thing is, it's got the lever like I've got on my rocket. But on my
Yeah,
rocket, the lever points down, so it's out the way
yeah.
until you need it, and you pull it up. Here, it sticks out. I mean, I was going to say something dirty, but guys, it's never good to have the thing sticking out. You don't want it sticking out all the time on default, right? You want it to stick out when you pull it out.
But
Not,
they were very happy.
well,
They
they
were
were
very
obviously
excited about
they were
it.
very excited, and the thing's constantly that handle is constantly
But
sticking out at an awkward
but
angle.
you know why?
Why?
Try to put a hand in there if it was pointing down. It's very compact.
Because the other now because it's so small, such a small form factor.
Yeah.
You're right. I'm looking at it. The hot water dispenser is in the way.
And if you have two cups, it gets a bit iffy. So
Yeah,
that's
you're
actually not a
right.
bad idea.
They've done it for a reason. Well, anyway, maybe they should have chosen a different design completely.
I would have gone for a bloody button. Just button.
with the button. A button would have
Doesn't
done
do
it. Well,
anything
no,
that
because
they.
you know what it is, and that brings me on to the next point is about the pre-infusion.
Yeah.
So
But the
you can
pre-infusion is electronic, isn't it? So
well,
why
they
do you need
say
the
you can
flippy thing?
do a mechanical pre-infusion with the lever, I think.
Yeah.
Although it's
But it
not.
needs to be plumbed in.
I don't think it's mechanical pre-infusion because I don't think there's a pump or anything. There's no pump. Well, obviously, there's not a pump that dries.
No.
So I think it just the water just drips out
Mhm.
on it, which is which is what a lot of other machines do. It's not unique to them. Um, but yeah, you've really got to get it plumbed in if you want to get that pre-infusion, and it is electronic. And from what I've seen, when you run the pre-infusion, now you can see above it, they've got a very minimalist um, timer, shot timer.
Yeah. But it's shot timer, and I think it also allows you to change things.
It allows you to change the PID. So it's also the PID. It's a PID shot timer. I
Yeah.
got no
So it's
problems with
one
that.
button.
But how many buttons can you see there?
One.
One. So
It's
how
gonna be
much
fun.
configurations? What? So can you imagine what the configuration is like? It's like setting an oven. If you've ever set an oven, or for those of us, who are older than a certain age, it's like programming a VCR. So if you loved programming your Betamax VCR, you'll probably love this machine because
Yeah.
you just hold the button down, wait for it to get to the right temperature. You miss the temperature, you keep going, and it just wraps around and starts again from the bottom. And then you keep holding it, and it probably goes fast, and you get right before, and then you hope, and then you tap it slowly until you get to
Yeah.
the right temperature.
And most
Which,
importantly,
yeah,
what temperature
you have
does
no idea. You have no idea because it's the temperature of the boiler, not the group head. It's a heat exchanger machine, and they have not done the one thing, which to me is a cardinal sin, and it sends them straight to hell, which is that they are giving you the temperature at the boiler, not at the group head. They expect you to do the math and work it out. You know what? No, I'm not. I'm just going to buy someone else's machine. That's what I'm going to do. What's the year, Max? Isn't it 2021?
is
I've got a little. I
2021.
used to, before I was at school before they had calculators,
Yep.
and we had a logarithmic book, and
Yep.
we had a slide rule,
Mm-hmm.
and we had to work stuff out, mod 6 and whatever.
Yep.
And I don't want to do that anymore. Who wants to do
That's
that? The machines don't should do this for you. Other
and
machines do it.
it shouldn't have a group head that was designed in 1961.
How do you feel about that, Max? How do you really feel? No,
I
don't tell me. So because I think we know. All right.
Yeah.
So basically, the problem is I'd be looking at the machine. I'd go, yeah, it's got all these problems, but it's a heat exchanger machine. It's going to be cheap. It's Sanremo. They'll add a bit of money on top because it's the name, the brand. I heard
Mhm.
it's built really well. It does
I
have
can
feet
assure I can
like
I'm
an
sure of
Italian
that.
sofa. Yeah, I'm sure it's built very well. Although my last little gripe, tiny little gripe, is that they've the feet are taken right out of an Italian high-end sofa, aren't they? They are, aren't they? They're those little tubes with a little disc on the bottom. You know
Yeah,
the
but
ones I'm talking
you
about.
can probably level it.
Well, I wouldn't assume so.
They look like leveling feet, but
They look like leveling feet. I just imagine that would be the last laugh of Sanremo when you get it, is it? It's not.
it's like, oh, I'm gonna yeah. I
You
have a
thought it was a self-leveling, didn't you? Didn't you admit it?
and now
It's
it's
not.
wobbling.
Oh, yeah. It's all part of the quirkiness. We like it
Yeah.
this way.
And
No.
then at the end of it,
Mhm.
they ask you for how much?
Well, so this is it. So I thought when I saw this, the first thing I thought when I saw this is I thought, I wish I'd bought that instead of my rocket. Then I found out all about it, and I thought, oh, thank God I got the rocket. And then I found out the price, and I just went, oh, I'm so happy I've got the rocket.
So
It is,
we're not gonna say the price just yet. So in terms of price,
yeah,
its competitor,
yeah.
which one is it?
Well, okay. I think being Sanremo, I
Mhm.
think they should have put this up against a linear mini. Um, but they should have fixed something. No, I think they should have put up against a linear mini because I
No, no,
think
no, no, no,
that's
no, 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 no. You're cheating because you know the price, and
okay. All right.
you're actually not. You're considering this
Well,
the
I
brand
would.
and not the features.
Okay, all right. So I was looking at this machine just on features, but knowing it's Sanremo as well,
Hmm.
I would say it's got to be a premium rocket price. So I paid 2 grand and a bit for my Rocket R58. I would be expecting this to be coming, but that's a double boiler, dual boiler.
Exactly. Haha.
I would
To
be
a
coming
boiler.
in at 1,500 to 2 grand with this machine.
Yes. So this is single boiler heat exchanger.
Yeah.
It doesn't have any
No
special features.
fancy PID, anything like that.
Oh,
Very
it's got a
basic.
PID. It's got a
But it's
PID.
got no fancy PID. It does have an app that comes with it, with
Yeah, with
apparently they're
social
bringing their own
media.
social network coming. Oh God, no!
And its actual competitor is the Victoria Arduino Eagle One Prima.
Yeah, it's coming in at over
Seriously?
$4,000. I don't know what it is in pounds. I couldn't find out the UK
What?
price.
Guys, what are you thinking?
They were thinking we're going to get rich.
Yeah, with that, so I have 4,000 pounds. Let's say 4,000 pounds. I have 4,000 pounds. Do I get these or do I get a Victoria Arduino? Do I even have to think about it?
Yeah, I mean, really, your choices are for that money: the Victoria Arduino Eagle One, or you can save a bunch of money and get a Lamazocco Linear Mini, or you can get the Rocket R.
GS3 as well and save money.
GS3 is a bit more than that. It's 6 grand or something, isn't it?
No. Ah,
Isn't
yeah,
it?
it is. It is
I
actually
think it
for
is. I think a
something.
GS3 is more than that. But you could get the Rocket R9, which is 4 odd grand. That's this price range.
Mhm.
For the same
And the
price, the Rocket
R9 is
R9,
actually
it's
is
a
not the
saturated group head.
61.
It's a saturated group head. It's got a ton of features. It's an amazing machine. Yeah, it blows this one away, frankly. Sorry, it does. And I'm just wondering, what were they thinking? I don't know. They're obviously thinking something, but it's
Clearly.
possibly they were out having a bender, as we call it, which means they were drinking. Um, I don't want to be rude to them because I've spoken to some
No,
San Remo people in the
I
past,
love their
and
machines. It's
I
just I
love
don't
their machines.
understand
We love
these.
you, San Remo, but what did you do with this? What did you do? You priced this at double the price it should be, and you put form over function too much. They didn't do enough testing, in my opinion. They should have taken this out. They probably had a bunch of yes men go around and go, oh, of course, yeah, yes, sir, this is an amazing. You're absolutely right, sir. And what they
Or
really need is they need somebody like you, Max, bashing it with a hammer, going, I hate everything, and go back to the drawing board.
yeah, or they are actually targeting people that don't know any better, but they like cool
They're
looking
like,
machines, and this is modern, it's
yeah,
designer, so it would look good on Instagram.
we're going to
And
look stupid in a year's time when these are everywhere and they've made a fortune.
we will probably look stupid, but I would want to see. I would love to look stupid.
Well, congratulations, Max. All right,
Do
look,
I have any?
we're gonna wrap it up. We've had quite a few new subscribers, which I'm very happy about. Do go over and what's the right word? Not subscribe, register.
Subscribe, like, ring the
Yeah,
bell,
yeah. Hey,
comment.
we had some really nice comments from some people. What did they
Did
say?
we?
Yeah, we
Nice.
did on the YouTubes. We've had quite a few nice comments over the
Wow.
last
Even nice
week or two.
comments. Wow. Yeah. Are
Yeah,
you sure?
yeah, I am actually sure.
Okay.
Yeah. So thank you very much for all of those. Keep those coming in because we do. It's so nice to know that there's people out there who,
Yeah. I mean, we are grumpy,
this guy
but
was saying, "Oh, I listen to this at work and I find it, I find it very funny and it's
yeah,
informative."
but you
So,
should be working.
but you should be working. I don't know what you do. He's probably a surgeon. He's like, oh,
Like, oh, oh dear.
oops. Okay. All right, we'll wrap it up there. Great to see you, Max. Have a great evening. And I will catch up with you next week where I have no idea what we're going to talk about.
Stuff.
Something,
Interesting things.
possibly coffee.
Probably.
All right. Take care, my friend.
See you.